sometimes you are made to subscribe because unananga YouTube nambwa sijui like the page or subscribe or follow, but people want TikTok because unaziona tu ukienda,
because the algos are completely different. There is something on Facebook called on social media called, I forget the name, but I can explain it. People who regret. There is a term they use in social media, but it's basically regretting after doom scrolling. That I've wasted a lot of time. So YouTube does not want regrets. Ukienda huko you have listened to Jagero and Fanya Mambo, you think that wow, that's an amazing conversation.
Yes.
Na imenisaidia sana.
Yes.
Lakini huko kuona tu matako na nini na nini na nini na nini na nini na nasema tu.
You know what they've done? What they've done? Chinese are very clever. They've programmed the TikTok, sorry.
Yeah.
In China, the algos are for, like, if you scroll, you just get techno innovations.
Yeah.
So, and even the kids, they grow accustomed to TikTok. This guy has made a new phone. This guy has made a new watch. That's what they've done. They want Africa to be consumers of what they make.
Yes.
So they make it very hard for you to see anything technology.
Exactly.
So what they do is they track your algorithms to only see a woman twerking her butt. So what Africans have done now, wamejaa tao na cameras. They are shooting girls shaking their ass. And that's why your economy will never go anywhere. Because you are busy thinking that you're making content. There's no content. That's a farting machine. There's nothing there. Whereas those people who are thinking you're finding young guys, a person is showing you how to make a watch, they make a watch. They show you, like, in China, you'll see, by the way, there's a time when you go specifically to technology. So like this, a mic like this. There's a guy who just specializes in opening them, cleaning them up, or doing something. Or somebody is, kuna moja, ka Chinese boy kana cleaningi machines za vinyozi. Kana ifungua, kana clean every part na kana rudisha. And he makes a lot of money from them. Yeah. Vinyozi zinampatia hizo machines sana. But here, everything is about shake your ass, shake your ass, shake your ass, shake your ass. So everybody is making a video about shaking your ass.
But it is also, but I also think that we should, anyway, let's start this thing, and then I'll ask you a question about that, because I also think that as Africans, hakuna mwenye ametuzuia kuclean hizo machines za kinyozi.
No, how to just.
Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Udo Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. I am here with a gentleman that I've always wanted to host. Amekuwa akinipiga chenga. Amekuwa akinipiga chenga sana. And I have really enjoyed your content and your articulation. You are the Roberta Bovio politics.
Thank you.
I think. And I've really enjoyed your content. Kenya is a country that every Kenyan should love. But right now, it's very, very, very difficult. I've got a lot of things to ask you. But first of all, I want to ask you just one question. Tell me about yourself, what you do to put food on the table. It's a very direct. and then number two, after you've introduced yourself, tell me the state of Kenyan politics.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
My name is Fanya Mambo Kinuthia, and that is my name on my ID.
Is it?
And every time I tell people that, they dispute. So I tell them I can send you my number. Work a 5 bob, Billy Agencies. If 1,000 of you say hi to me with 5 bob, I'll be very happy today.
Yeah.
So that is my name on my ID, Fanya Mambo Kinuthia, and I love my name. Yes, I apologize. I haven't come to your studio earlier because we had kept planning on this. It never happened. But I knew this is home. You know, this is Dagoretti South.
Yeah.
Kwenye nachaguliwa 27. By the way, wananichagua MP Dagoretti South.
Let
me just tell you, they will.
Should.
God is faithful.
Because I've been around here for the last 12 years.
Yes.
And I haven't seen a politician that is doing anything here.
Don't worry.
This road, what happened to it? Tell me about this road, bro.
Lies happened to the road.
Lies happened to the road.
Yeah, we have leaders who don't tell you the truth. and people who conceal numbers and do all sorts of rubbish. But that's coming to an end, God willing, after 2027.
Yeah.
So I keep reminding the people of Dagoretti South, I'll be on that ballot. I'm vying for MP Dagoretti South. So yes, I'm a lawyer by training. I studied law. Initially at Catholic University. I ended up graduating at University of Dar es Salaam. I'm currently pursuing my master's in law at the University of Nairobi. But then I chose a different path in law. I do something called alternative dispute resolution, which is mediation and arbitration. I'm the lawyer who helps people resolve their disputes out of court. Mkipelekana kotini miaka 5, unaenda unasikia hiyo joto. Unasikia leo ni pre-trial, kesho ni mention. You even get to know these things, you become like a lawyer. Leo kuna adjournment may happen, cost list. You know, you get to learn so many things, yet that's none of your business. So those are the kind of people sometimes we talk to and tell them, did you know that it would have been possible to resolve this dispute out of court? And did you know that a mediation settlement agreement carries the weight of a judgment? And did you know you can enforce it later? So I run a firm called Kilimani Mediation Center, and all we do is to help people resolve their disputes out of court.
So tell me something about it. And by the way, talking about that, it reminds me of some kind of mediation that I've seen in the United States.
Yes.
Where somebody just sets up something that looks like a court, and it is legally binding. Like if you show up there, you know that the law of the land applies to whatever decision has been made there.
Yes.
So, for example, once I have Bobby, we have a problem with Bobby business-wise. Bobby amepotea na pesa yangu ama nimepotea na pesa yake, and tumepelekana koti for the last 10 years, and we have decided let's go to Fanya Mambo because we are going nowhere. How does that process work out?
It's very easy. First and foremost, the parties need to be willing. You cannot force mediation on someone who is not willing. So once the parties are willing, what we do is we tell you, if you go to court, there are usually 2 results. One guy will say hallelujah, and one will say shetani yashindwe, because one will win and one will lose. Mediation is a win-win. We have a situation whereby the 2 of you come and we say, okay, you owe him how much? 1 million. Yes, are you willing to pay? No, it's not 1 million. There was an interest, make it 800. Good, sour. What do you want to do? Then they say, I can pay 100,000 now. And let's 700,000. Allow me to pay 60,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 a month until it's over. And the parties agree. And you take that mediation agreement, you make them sign. And then me as a court-accredited mediator, I go and file it in court. It gets the stamp of the court. It is adopted by the court, and it carries now the same weight as a judgment of the court. So from there, any other question about this particular issue will have to be based on this agreement. It is binding, and it is non-appealable. So once you do a mediation settlement agreement, imagine you have a judgment on your own terms that you arrived at, probably in your own office, maybe in your own sitting room, maybe virtually. But it is binding and carries the force of law. Unaenda kotini kufanya nini? So I keep telling people mediation is the most superior method of dispute resolution. And I tell people, when you have a dispute, the guy who knows the least about your issue, imagine, is the guy who's going to make the decision called a judge. He's the guy who is the most ignorant about what's going on between the 2 of you. He's the most ignorant, yet he is going to go to make a very serious decision that will bind the 2 of you. Can you imagine? Munakuja first mnajiintroduce, he doesn't know you by way of affidavits. And then you even tell him, mi ndio naitwa Atieno, mi ndio naitwa fulani. You even tell the judge. And then you swear that you are of sane mind, because you have to swear those affidavits before you go to court, that you're of a sane mind, you're adult.
Why do people swear affidavits that they are of a sane mind when they show up in court?
Because the court doesn't want to deal with insane people. Because an insane person is incapable of making good decisions. Or being told, don't take a mad person through the court process. In fact, if they have reason to suspect you are insane, they first take you for medical checkup. Because you don't want to pass judgment on an insane person. Even if he was to go to our cells, it would be another problem. So anyway, so that person who you are relying upon, yes, he knows the law, he's good at the law, but he's ignorant about your dispute. Can you imagine living with your wife for 15 years? And then you're going and sitting before a stranger and you're telling a stranger, my wife is bad, my husband is bad, my wife did this. And this stranger is looking at you and he has to make a decision about the 2 of you. You know your spouse better. So sometimes it's best if you come to a mediation table. I have been speaking to corporates. Many of the companies in this country, they have a lawyer on record. They have an advocate on record. So anytime they get a demand letter, we have lawyers. You throw to your advocates. What do? They read it. They're like, oh, this guy thinks he knows English. They reply na kizungu ingine mzito, and then they end up by telling that other lawyer, see you in court.
So that is the company court. That is the company lawyer.
This is what happens.
Yes.
I'm running a company.
Okay.
You probably have been supplying, let's say I run a transport company. I have 15 trailers, 20 trailers. You've been supplying me with tires. Okay? Then for some reason, I don't pay you in good time. Or something doesn't go right. So what do? You go to your advocates, you tell them to do for me a demand letter. So they do for you a demand letter trying to threaten me as the company guy who owns the trailers. So what happens when I get the demand letter? I don't even finish reading. In ya mawakili. See, we have a lawyer on... yeah. We have a lawyer. Yes. Give to our advocate.
Yes.
The advocate receives it, and what does he do? They are over-enthusiastic. They want to show you I can fight for you.
Yes.
I can take a bullet for you, my boss. So what are the instructions? Reply to that demand letter. So when my advocate sits down, he sees war. And what does he do with it? And I don't blame advocates. It's the way we were trained in school. It's the way lawyers were trained. We were trained to be adversarial. So the advocate goes, pa, 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 pa. Anaeka sasa kizungu mzito kuliko ile. Na anamuthreaten, na anamwambia, we are not afraid of courts. We also know where the courts are. See you in court. So it was a dispute about tires. Maybe you supply tires for my trailer company, maybe worth $1 million a month or something. Now that dispute is going to court. If only I had been wise as a company owner, I would have hired a mediator. In addition to the advocate, just have a mediator. On record, you need to. If you are running a company in this country, just have a mediator, a professionally trained mediator who is court accredited. So that when you get this horrible demand letter, the mediator looks at it, breathe in, breathe out, smile, then you say, dear sir, look here. We've had a relationship running for 6 years. When we look at our records, you've supplied us tires worth 5.6 million so far. Why are we going to ruin this relationship because there's a delay in payment or something? Or even maybe we wrote to you a bad letter, but still it can be worked out. So it brings that whole temperature down. Then you're saying, Thursday afternoon, can we have tea in our boardroom? These guys are mad. We are complaining here, they haven't paid us 2.5 million and they're saying we have tea in the boardroom. So you come to the boardroom. And when you get to the boardroom of the company, is when now you get to know how mediation works.
Yeah.
You come and we give you tea, for sure. Then we tell you, we've not refused to pay you. We are in transport. But are you aware that 2 of our trailers rolled? One at Salga. We hear the other one is in Burundi. We've not even been able to get it. The cost of getting that trailer alone from Burundi plus towing and everything is close to $500,000. So we apologize. And then our insurance hasn't come through for us. And then we usually supply whatever we were carrying were insured goods. We're probably carrying goods for a very big NGO. They had goods worth 15, 16, 17 million on that trailer. So we are in a bad place. But we would like to pay you. If we can agree, in fact, add us more tires, yeah, we will pay, because even there's one that we hear, uko mutito andei imetoboka miguu. So in fact, incur the cost of getting a pickup to take the tires to that trailer. So now that is mediation. It is bringing down temperatures of what ordinarily ought not to have been. So I tell companies, there are very many companies that are in court today that should never have been in court.
Really?
Very many. If you read the Nation newspaper on Thursday, that's last week, there was a whole page on mediation. And they were saying about 389 billion shillings is stuck up in court.
Demands.
Stuck up in court because these are cases worth 389 billion. That money is not circulating. We do business together.
I see
yes.
what you mean.
Yes. I
see what you mean. You are demanding. You are demanding it. I wasn't paying it, so you've taken me to court, and there is no any payment anyway now.
Yes, because we're in court. We say let the judge decide whether we are going to pay you or not. Let the judge decide who is at fault. Then whoever is at fault pays.
If we went for mediation, some money would be trickling here and there.
As we speak, those who were hit by common sense, albeit too late, more than 216,000 cases have been sent to mediation since 2016. 216,000 cases out of the about 1.7 million cases that are stuck in court today. And out of these, 75 billion with a B, has been unlocked back into the economy. Because when you come your business partners, na chacha nikwambie vile watu kosana, I do mediation every day.
Yes.
Munapewa katenda na gava. Munachanga saizo munatafuta do to fulfill the tender, your friends. You do so well, you do kama ni construction ama supply, you finish. You chase this money, you chase. The day the money hits the account, you start disagreeing on how you're going to distribute as partners. Apana, I invested, I did. So what?
They freeze it.
You freeze it. Exactly. It's frozen until the matter is hard and determined. And the lawyer tells you, freeze that account. Asiende ku withdraw. So you have 6, 7, 10 million stuck in an account for 5 years or 4 years. Bado munapigana kotini na watoto wenyu wamefukuzwa school fees. Munaenda kukopa kwa mashylocks. That's what's happening. People take their vehicles, they take motor vehicle loans, the ones that come at crazy interest rates. Their kids are being sent out of school, but there is 6 million that they couldn't agree on how to distribute. So when you call in mediation, instead of going to 5 years in court, you sit down.
Why does it take 5 years, bro?
The reason is, I've already told you, if you take, for example, I'll give you a living example. The Employment and Labor Relations Court has got 336,000 cases that have been filed by you and me and every other Kenyan. Really? These are labor disputes. That court has 21 judges. 336,000 cases. Now, the mediators who are accredited to that court are 523. So the hope for that court is in mediation. It's not in the judges. The hope for that court can only be in mediation.
Mediators watusaidie?
So, what is happening? We have about 1,700 accredited mediators right now. When we started this campaign for mediation, there were less than 1,000 of us in a country of 53 million. Less than 1,000 mediators who had been accredited by the judiciary. So they are being given cases by the judiciary to help resolve on behalf of the judiciary. So I'm one of them. I'm actually the chairman of the Association of Certified Mediators in Kenya.
Really?
Yes. And what we do is we bring these mediators together and speak for them and voice for them and try to grow the whole profession that is mediation. So in addition, I'm a trainer of mediators, like people who want, my firm trains mediators. We help people through the process. Being accredited by the judiciary is not an easy journey, but it's a possible journey. So we take you through mentorship, we take you through how to fill in the forms, and we guide you on what to say during the interview. At least unaenda kwa judiciary unakuwa accredited. Because once you're accredited, the judiciary gives you cases to resolve on their behalf, and the judiciary pays you for resolving those cases.
It is the judiciary that pays you?
Yes, for resolving those cases.
Not the two parties?
No.
They should. The two parties should pay something.
No, you see, justice must be seen to have been done. When the matter is in court,
but they pay lawyers. They pay lawyers.
When the matter is in court, it becomes the responsibility of the judiciary to dispense justice. So they are dispensing justice, and justice comes at a cost. However, it is growing. It is getting to a point where very soon it will be the parties who will be paying.
I think for the purpose of the audience, I think I need to ask you something that has come up.
Yeah.
Lawyers that are mediators like you.
Yeah.
You pick your clients from court. I do not show up at your doorstep to do mediation.
No, I'll tell you.
Yes.
There are 2 sets of mediation. Actually 3. The first one is private mediation. Private mediation where you, Jagero, has a problem with the guy who sold you the cameras in his studio. And you walk up to me and you say, if we go to court, it will be 3 years. Can we agree privately as a private mediation settlement agreement? And then we file it in court. And it is adopted by the court and becomes a binding judgment of the court. That is private mediation. And then that can happen for either individuals or companies. And then we have court-annexed mediation. Court-annexed mediation is where a matter appears before a judge or a magistrate. And the judge looks at it and says, "Hii ni mali ya baba yenyu munapigania nyinyi." Succession, yes. That happens a lot. your dad had a will, you guys are fighting, your brothers and sisters, yeah. From where I sit as a judge, I recommend that this matter first goes to mediation. So you will go and try to resolve it out of court. And if you agree, whatever agreement is brought, it becomes a judgment of the court because it is the court that sanctioned this mediation.
Okay.
So that is called court-annexed mediation. It is a case that was already in court, and you are now helping the parties, but it is the judiciary that has referred the matter to you. So the judiciary pays you. But also we have people who have matters in court. Now this is the third angle. Hii kesi imekuwa huko 2-3 years, and you are sick and tired. The other day I was given a 39-year-old case. We resolved it in 4 sittings.
Wow.
So people come to you and tell you, we have this matter in court and it's killing. I'm tired. And then you tell them, okay, cool. What can we do for you? We want to resolve out of court. So you start mediation, you agree, and then you inform the court. Now there was this matter before you, but the parties have met outside there. They have agreed privately, and they would want to register the agreement in court. The court never says no. So in the first instance where people came to you privately, they pay you. Court annexed, it came from the judge to you, the court pays you. But this one that was in court, but you agreed uko kando, the parties pay you. So either way, as a mediator, you'll be paid. Yeah.
Amazing. There is something I wanted to touch, and you're the one who has actually touched it.
Yes.
The issue of wills.
Yes.
There are so many fights.
Yes.
In the courts, kwa magazeti tunaziona. What exactly is going on with these things, with the succession issues?
First and foremost, there's this thing of entitlement.
Okay.
Mimi ni first wife. Huyu mwingine ni kisichana kilikuja leta kiconcubine. Akiwezi gawiwa. I see a lot of that in my office. I see this thing. Yes. But you see,
yeah,
whether or not this other person is a concubine, the children born out of their relationship are dependents on your husband, your late husband. And therefore, they are entitled. Na Wakikuyu husema hakuna mtoto wa tumbo na wa mgongo. Wote wanatokanga kwa tumbo. So now there's this thing of, ama huyu alikuja na mama yake. You know, there are those people who maybe you get married with a child.
Yes,
unakuja unazalia mzee watoto wengine 3. Then people start saying, no, sisi tuliambiwa huyu wewe ulikuja na mama yetu. Uende ukagawe kwa baba yako huko. And the third angle is people who believe that girls are not supposed to inherit. Because they will get married to a richer guy than this man. They are beneficiaries of that property, and then they are beneficiaries of the property on this side. Succession revolves around those issues. If you're able to overcome those issues, especially where there was more than one wife, then you're good to go. But the central theme that runs through all succession cases is greed. Greed. I was handling the other day, now that I wouldn't mention names.
Yes.
A Kenyan I would call a madman, because when he died, he must have been. Why would you want to have more than 100 title deeds? We counted when we were trying to discuss that succession, tulifika 142. You know, this title deed, 142. One living creature. Why do you need all that land? Then he had 4 wives. Concurrently, again, 4 women at the same time. Then he had numerous and various children, you know. So that was a very complicated one, because actually the second wife was feeling even more entitled than the first one. And that she was feeling that her children deserve a bigger share of that inheritance. But I can tell you, it's all about greed. It's got even nothing to do with having a will or not. If people were fair and to say, we are all children of our father, and even if we did a DNA, we are all children of our father, doesn't matter through which mother. Why don't we share equally amongst these children? I think we would never have succession battles. The problem we have is that there's a child who wants to get more than the others.
But then that is fine. But let's talk about then the will. Then how does the courts treat the will? Because some people say that the will is not fair to me, but it is the owner of the property that has written the will. So when Fanya Mambo as the third child has been given 30 acres, like a 30 acre estate in Nyahururu, and the other son has been given 2 acres in Ngong. And then the other one in Ngong is going to court and saying, it's not fair. What my dad did is unfair. What I'm asking you is, can a judge look at a will and say that this is an unfair will?
I'd like to say this. Before you even get to the level of the judge,
yeah,
you as a child, what makes you feel so entitled to your father's property? What if he did what some of his age mates did? They used to go to the bar every day and the money would end up in the urinal of the bar and there would have been no that property to share. What would you do? But if you are born to a father who had nothing, or a father like Virgin Atlantic who said he would give 97% of his of his properties and leave his family with 3%. He said that he'll give 97% of his wealth to charity when he dies. What would you do? Would you come and tell him this 97% you gave to charity, you are mad? It's his money. He gave you education. He taught you life. Go and make your own money. Stop being foolish. So I've always told people, entitlement causes the bulk of the problems we have. I thank God my dad, before he died, he did his will very many years before he died. And when he distributed his property, he even showed his children, you here, you here, you here. And he was alive for another 10 years before he passed on. Let us stop being stupid Africans. If you do your will, it doesn't mean you'll die tomorrow. And anyway, you're going to die. If you have property, start letting your children know. There's nothing wrong with you just doing the right thing. So the contents of the will sometimes are contested in court, and for very many reasons, because each will is very different. But I'd like to say, after everything is done, the most superior method of resolving that dispute is mediation, where you sit at a table and agree, I don't like you, but I have to face you. And we just agree, and then everybody goes their way.
But the courts do not alter the will. The courts cannot say that the will is unfair.
You see, when you're a lawyer, you'll understand one thing. Law, unlike maths, the good thing with mathematics is that when you're given a formula and you're given a sum, you'll arrive at the same answer, all of you. That's the difference between a mathematician and a lawyer. A lawyer, on the other hand, is given a situation, and then you're told, come up with the most likely answer within the circumstances of what you've been given. Some wills have been set aside. Some wills have been enforced as they are. Some wills have been declared illegal. Some wills have been ignored, and some wills have been upheld. So depending on the circumstances of the case and the arguments presented, remember, people make what we call prayers to court. So what are you asking the court to do for you? You might find a family that has a bad will, and they are saying, if you only adjust that issue so that this one is not getting 2 acres and this one 30 acres, we as a family, we shall agree. In another will, they are saying, set aside the whole will. In another will, they are saying, declare it illegal. It was signed under duress. There was a girl dancing before my father, and he was sick, and without his mental faculties. They were saying, a promise made by a naked man sometimes is not a very good promise. So probably that is the circumstances under which the will was written. Yeah, this maybe second wife or third wife was dancing on a pole and telling him, you want me to sleep on that bed? Yeah, just say the hilux is mine. And because the old man now is in a place where he's desperate, he says, yes, the hilux is yours. So each will has been set aside or adjudicated upon by a judge, depending on the pleadings in court, the submissions made, even the way the lawyers come out and so on and so forth. So in law, there is no right answer and there is no wrong answer. It's not like mathematics.
Yeah.
And if someone comes and tells you the will will be set aside, that's not a lawyer. If someone comes and tells you the will can be cancelled, that's not a lawyer. The circumstances are usually so different. Each case gets a very different result, and you're like, but the material facts have to be so similar for you to get a similar judgment. In most cases, you will see the same circumstances, but the material facts are very different, and the judgment is different. Even the temperament of the judge and the knowledge of the judge and the skill of the judge matters. So in law,
So an old judge who is like, let's say 60 years plus with several kids would give a different judgment because he's giving judgment thinking about how he would deal with his kids.
not really. Maybe even experience, a lot more experience within common law has taught him to be even very different.
Okay.
All I would tell you is in law, there is no similarity in cases, in circumstances, in judges, in the advocates who are in court. Everything changes. And so you cannot predict one case 100% based on another. Sometimes in our ears, you can rely on what we call a precedent, but I can tell you, you cannot predict one case based on what happened in another case, because each case has got its own material facts and they're very different. Yeah.
So probably before we go to politics, people have come to you.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you're a counselor at this point. You're telling them that they need to calm down. Then they're telling them that, look, this thing has dragged in court for such a long, long time. How are we going to do it?
No, mediation is different. You don't do counseling. Mediation is, you're telling the parties, this is your dispute, by the way. It's not mine. That needs to be very clear. It is your dispute. So you're sitting as an impartial arbiter at the middle. And you're getting this one, akienda kushout unamwambia, calm down. I have to protect you from him, and I have to protect him from you. So you give them an opportunity to speak, and you let them start now getting to a place where they're giving solutions. You know, a counseling psychologist gets to a point where they get involved. Mediators help you to resolve your dispute. They don't even get involved. They don't even advise you. They help you. They guide you through the process. They are professionals. Their work is to bring out the best solutions that can come from the two of you and to make you get a win-win situation. That's the goal.
Okay.
Where you have two winners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the people that wanted to get your help, where do they get you?
We run a firm called Kilimani Mediation Center. We are on Google Maps. Our number is 0746 859 046. 0746 859 046. So we do training in mediation, we do mentorship in mediation, and we mediate disputes for people.
Yeah.
Those three things. We are an all-round mediation outfit. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much, people of the internet. That was Fanya Mambo. All right, people of the internet, I hope that you are enjoying this episode so far. I broke the episode just to tell you something that is very, very interesting. In 2024, a lot of people were saying that I am broke, Chagero. I do not have a job. That what is interesting is that when they were telling me this in 2024, I was already working on a book for the last 3 years. And that book was about the hustles and the jobs that you can get online. Now, what you need to know about me, Jagero, is that I have always traveling. I'm always doing this crazy, nice stuff. But I've never been employed since I left college. And I'm not saying that because I hate employment. I didn't get employment, you know. But I have always worked. I've always earned money. I have worked for Americans. I've worked for Europeans. I've worked for Kenyan. I've worked for anybody literally on the face of the earth. And these are jobs that I've online, on LinkedIn, on other ways. So I've been very busy. In 2024, I wrote a book called The Digital Goldmine, 18 side hustles that you can take advantage of online. And a lot of people bought that book. Almost sometimes even 500 people in a month buying that book. And people have been saying, are there more jobs? Yes, there are more jobs. So in 2024, they are no longer 18 side hustles, but they are 25 side hustles because I have added other books. So in 2025, you cannot say, Jagero, I don't have a job. Jagero, I am broke, because I have put it before you. The book is not expensive. It is 1,000 Kenya shillings, or if you are asking about the price in other parts of the world, it is just $10. Okay? So in the description below, I have put the link that takes you to where you can learn more about the book. And I've also left a link where you can buy the book. So thank you very much. And let's go back to programming. Okay. We want to go to politics right now. Yes. And talk about this country. So people of the internet, I have Fanya Mambo. So you are a mediator, but you've got a lot of interest and passion in the politics of our country. Kenya is several years old, 1963, when it was handed over back to Kenyans themselves. The first thing that I want to ask you is, I don't know whether you have the answer to this thing. Okay. Do you think that we have taken care of this country properly since it was given back to us by the colonizer?
Let's say to a large extent, there are things we've done right. It's not good to beat ourselves very much. The fact that we still have an intact republic is not going into banana. The fact that if I stabbed you now, there would be a policeman to arrest me at some point. It's not that I will walk on the streets holding a bloody knife and saying I stabbed him and there's no police cell. No. We have our integrity as a state. We have our police force, we have our army, we have our borders, and largely we are peaceful. Our children are going to school, even if they are going hungry, some of them, but they are going to school. Even if they are struggling to pay fees, they are going to school and so on. So we have a republic. We've tried. We've not gone to the dogs where literally now there's nothing going on. But in terms of good governance, we failed. We have something called democracy. I told you democracy will give you Kawachiko. Democracy will give you whom you want. If today you just wanted democracy, democracy will give you the most popular Mtura guy, and he'll become your member of parliament. He can even become senator or governor because it's democracy. It's how many people feel that this guy should be elected. And he's probably the most popular comedian around, or he sells Mahindi Choma or Chemsha. And because he's popular with people, democracy will give you that guy. But then we have to move from democracy to governance. And that's where we are wrong. Because when we choose that popular guy, a guy maybe probably who never even got past class 3, we've had people like the chief government slappist who slaps people all the time, anywhere, anytime. And we've heard about their academic qualifications and so on and so forth. When we put such people in such high positions, such high decision-making positions, then now we are speaking governance. And in terms of governance, we are doing badly. No.
Okay. We have, when Ruto was coming to government, there are promises that he gave. I don't know, there is the ile salamu yenye ilikuwa napeana huko Kikuyu land ilikuwa
Mwadhanyagosho.
That you salamu. Ruto was in the government with Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
He was a minister, an agricultural minister, and he was part of the Y92. He basically has been in government for such a long, long time. But the funny thing is that when Ruto was campaigning to become the president of this country, in the eyes of a lot of people, he appeared somebody that is new and is promised a lot. He promised that manna is going to come from heaven. He said that people is going to take us back to the Kanu days when there was milk in school. He promises a lot of things. In your estimation, and even the heart that he had, because when Ruto was trying to become president, he was banking a lot on the Kikuyu votes because he knew the Luo vote is gone, and he knew that he had only the Kalenjin vote and a little bit of sprinkler votes from other parts of the country, but he really wanted the Kikuyu vote, and he went there and said a lot of things. Do you think that Ruto was lying, or when he finally got into the government, he found out that he's dealing with a different animal altogether?
If you want to win the Premier League,
yeah,
you look for a team that has got a tradition of winning the Premier League. And if you want to buy a team, you buy one that has got a tradition of winning a Premier League. At least they have a few trophies. The Mount Kenya vote has delivered the presidency many times. Delivered the presidency in 2002. I think where they vote most of the times, they make the president. They did it in 2002. They did it in 2007. They did it in 2013. They did it in 2017. So in 2022, he knew this team called Mount Kenya, this basket called Mount Kenya, somehow harbors presidential votes. And wherever it votes, they get the presidency. Now, in his wisdom or lack thereof, he's decided that the team that has always won the Premier League is not the team he wants to run with. He wants to go and now look for the team that has always become number 2 or 3, or the team that has always, it's called runners-up, that is always making the opposition. Now he wants to use it this time round to win the presidency. And I think that's where he's messed up.
No, but the question that I'm asking you specifically is that there are promises that Ruto made. There are promises that Ruto made.
Do you think he even remembers them?
No. Let's. Father Mambo, listen. There are promises that he made, and I'm asking the question: do you think he was lying, or do you think that when he got into government, he realized that because of our economic situation and the kind of money that we have from the coffers is not able to deliver these promises? Did he know? Was he playing a typical politician who gives you lies in order for you to elect him?
No, I think you're being too harsh on President William Ruto. President William Ruto was not lying to Mount Kenya.
Okay.
He was telling things that he forgot immediately he got to the door of the church on his way out. He just didn't remember. If you asked him, what did you say? He would say people clapped. That's the only thing he remembers he said. So I don't even blame him. He comes and looks what these people want to hear. There will be podcast mics in every bedroom. You tell them that. And then they clap. And then you ask him, why did they even clap? I don't know. Me, I just told them things they wanted to hear. So he said to Kenyans...
Excuse me, Fanya Mambo.
Yeah.
You are telling me that a presidential candidate showed up in different parts of this country, said things...
Yeah.
He does not remember.
Yes.
And then you are telling me that I'm harsh on him.
That's why they had the simplest manifesto. It was called Hatupangwingwi. Nobody had an easier manifesto. The manifesto.
Hatupangwingwi?
Azimio wasted paper printing such a huge manifesto promising people 6,000. These guys came up with a very simple manifesto. Hatupangwingwi.
No, that's not the manifesto. You are being dramatic, and you're the one who's
every Kenyan can read that manifesto, Hatupangwingwi. And that was it. And that's what they sold. And that they got to the presidency with it. Are
you being dramatic, Kamal? It was called Hatupangwingwi.
And even right now, they're explaining Hatupangwingwi. I mean, SHA is not working. You say it's not working, they arrest you. Because our pangwingwi. You saw what happened to that lady, and she was dragged like a thief just for proving that SHA is not working. It was all over the newspapers. I don't know how you didn't see it.
I saw it.
Yeah, she was treated like a criminal. You'd think she had robbed a bank. You'd think she had raped a minor just by proving and showing Kenyans that this crap called SHA is not working. So President William Ruto did not say things that he intended to do. He said things that would get him votes and claps. And people clapped for him and people voted for him. So he was done. I mean, then he gets to government, he realized, yes, in fact, you're right. There was no money in the coffers. There was only money to change the roof of State House and make it look like a horrible, horrible Airbnb. There was money to buy new cars for his ministers. There was money for people to buy expensive watches. I guess you saw that. There was money to fly all over the country and become the most flown president in the world. There was money to spend 200 million on a presidential trip to the United States. There was just no money to fulfill promises made to Kenyans. So yes, I agree with him. There was no money for you Kenyans. That time there was money before I and others made noise to pay First Lady for 700 million, the wife of the Deputy President 700 million, the wife of Musalia Mudavadi, a holder of a non-constitutional office, 500 million. There was just no money for any other thing that was important to Kenyans. So I agree with him, he found no money. The only money he found was money for buying furniture at State House for 1 billion shillings. And I understand him. That's the money that was available. to furnish State House, to make it look ugly, to buy new furniture, to pay the First Lady's money, to pay Mudavadi's wife some money, to fly to the US every other minute and everywhere. He's been to even countries that we don't trade with. I don't know, there was one somewhere near Eritrea, I don't know, Djibouti. What do we do with Djibouti? We don't even buy peremende there. We don't even have a Kenyan delegation that could come and dance for him there. But he was in Djibouti.
When you didn't know why he was in Djibouti? Because
there's a country called Djibouti and it was in his bucket list and he's never been there and he needed to go there.
Or probably because they wanted that guy to step down from becoming the AU chairman.
No, that was earlier. That was much earlier.
That was much earlier before everything came to surface.
Yes. So when he went to Mount Kenya, he was looking for votes to enable him do the things he's doing now.
Okay, now I understand why he went to Mount Kenya. Yeah. Now tell me why Mount Kenya voted for him.
First and foremost, 50% of Mount Kenya did not vote. You need to remember that very well.
Did not vote. They did not show up.
The voter turnout in Mount Kenya was 54%, something that has never happened. 46% of the people in Mount Kenya did not find it necessary to wake up to go and vote for him or any other person who was on the ballot. They didn't even consider Gachagua worthy. I wish they even woke up to vote for Gachagua, but they never did. So they made him president because of their own funny considerations. I was called a stupid Kikuyu because I was in Azimio. In fact, people hated me that time. And they passed by my gate when Ruto won and they were drumming very hard because they knew I was an Azimio guy. And some of them were even carrying my posters because they had Baba's photo and Mother Karua's photo. Today I asked them, drum bado iko, bado munaichapa? And they almost want to shed a tear because they know what they put themselves into.
Well, what were the considerations for voting Ruto as president?
You know, sometimes we blame Ruto so much.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to discuss about the voter. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine the guys who voted for Ruto last time want to vote this time? I don't know whether the brain has changed. I don't know whether the capacity to fathom that they made a mistake has come. That they are going to vote. Imagine they still have a vote. Somebody who queued literally and voted for William Ruto still has a vote in his pocket. And that person is going to vote. Aren't you afraid? You know, my grandfather used to tell me he fears idiots more than fire, electricity, and even war. And I asked him why. He said it's because idiots are so many. And one day they will vote for their own and make him president. Unfortunately, that has happened within our lifetime. So we have to be very careful that there was a BVR kit. If you voted, there was this thing you put your thumb there just to check whether you are the one before you vote. I think we can change it a bit so that you put your thumb, then it checks whether you have common sense, then we allow you to vote. Because we have allowed a lot of people who did not have common sense to vote. So beyond being harsh on our leaders, let us also be harsh on our voters. That there are people who never knew what they were doing in that queue. But they voted. And they landed us to where we are.
What are the considerations that Kikuyus made when voting for Ruto? The
same stupid considerations they made when they left Sakaja and left their own Igathe and voted Sakaja for governor. Look at how horrible Nairobi is, and Igathe is at home and all the top companies are looking for him. If a top-tier company was hiring between Sakaja and Igathe, they would ask for papers. And you know who they would hire. But they left Igathe and voted for Sakaja. So they were not even being tribal. I wouldn't say they were being tribal. I would say there was something just that was going on, which we are yet to know. I think it needs a scientific research as to why people would leave a man of the qualifications of Igathe and go for Teams University. And then wonder why Nairobi is not working. Mpaka wanasemanga lazima iwako. Wanajaribu kuiforce.
Nairobi work.
Wanasemanga lazima iwako. Mpaka wameandika kwa garbage truck. Lazima iwako. The fact that we still have garbage trucks collecting garbage the same way we used to collect in 1970 tells you we don't have leadership in Nairobi. Full stop.
How are you supposed to be collecting garbage?
My friend.
In 2024?
We are in 2025.
You tell me in 2025.
We are in 2025.
How are you supposed to collect garbage?
People who use common sense are turning garbage into renewable energy. Then the next question we ask ourselves as Nairobians is, before we speak of collecting garbage, what are we doing about the garbage? You know, let me ask you, if tomorrow you wake up as governor of Nairobi and 70% of what you collect is plastic, what do?
You tell people not to use plastic.
Precisely. So the fact that you are still collecting plastic in 2025 shows that your common sense has left you. There was a time when half of our garbage was polythene papers. I'm glad we reduced that significantly. What happened to the days when soda was in a glass bottle? When there was a value to that plastic, to that bottle, and you'd have to return that bottle to get back your deposit. The people who did that were not stupid. They were only clever. How many of those plastic bottles that are collected and carried with our own taxes around this town are, it costs a lot more to maintain our cities from plastic than we earn from plastic. If you go to the people who sell plastics on Mombasa Road, and I know those companies, a kawaida 500 ml bottle is about 7 shillings. That's what they sell it for.
Okay.
The empty bottle, with taxes inside and everything inside. But when you think of how much it costs to run the garbage truck, to carry those bottles after they have been used and dumped and blocked our sewers and blocked our rivers and everything, there must be a lot more. I need a scientific calculation, but we spend more managing garbage that we put on our roads than we earn from that garbage, ever. So you get me? So that is something that we haven't looked into. Nobody has wanted to have that. That's why I'm telling you, we did not elect common sense into leadership. We never did. If today you look at Nairobi City County and people are talking of building roads, what for? I wouldn't have spent 59 billion building the expressway. I would have spent it building an industrial park in Machakos and in Kajiado. We are the only capital city in the world where most of our manufacturing is concentrated here. If you move some of these companies from Nairobi, let me tell you for free. Like that one particular company that I know manufactures bottles has got an employee base of about 1,800 people.
1,800?
Yes. If that company was to move, if you were to move that company from Nairobi, what do you think would happen? 100 people would follow their jobs. Plus their wives, plus their spouses.
Yeah.
That's 3,000 people plus moved. I can tell you, there's about 1 million people who should not be in Nairobi. You've seen people who walk to industrial area. Wanapitia Mbagathi. Just go to Mbagathi in the morning. You don't need a scientific research. Just go to Mbagathi, you'll see them walking to industrial area. Go to Pipeline, you'll see them walking to industrial area from this other side. If you were to move manufacturing from Nairobi, the bulk of it, I can tell you for free, 1 million people will follow their jobs plus their spouses. With 2 million people will leave Nairobi. Nairobi will have a healthy population of 3 million or 2.5 million. And by the way, kuna wengine tunaita opportunistic investors in Nairobi. They've put their mandazi and their whatever on the road where these industrial workers are passing by. When they are going to work and then they are coming from Wauzie, Chapati, Muitu and Ngomu and everything. If you move these 2 million people,
going with
these
them.
people will follow them. So Nairobi will have a healthy population of 2 million people. And then you don't have to think about slum upgrade. Why are you upgrading slums? We have not elected common sense into this country. Because if we did that, then what would happen is that wherever they are going there, they would start building new ecosystems. Even banks would follow. When 2 million people leave, banks will follow, schools will follow.
Everybody would follow.
Yeah. So Nairobi is the capital city.
When you're saying move them, for example, how does Sakaja move a company?
It doesn't have to be Sakaja. I'm just saying, Sakaja tulimalizana naye when we spoke about garbage. But I'm saying the top leadership. It was the same conversation. No, we were speaking about garbage in Nairobi.
Yes.
But it was within that same conversation.
You can only talk about Sakaja and talk about garbage.
Well, and bad roads. There's a lot of dimples on our roads. People are voting for dimples. Kilimani is full of dimples.
Okay, anyway, yeah. Who would move them?
If you built an industrial park and gave tax waivers and allowed companies to flourish outside of Nairobi.
Fanya Mambo, let me tell you something, brother. You are a wise man and you are a technocrat. And some of us did not go to school. So I would like you to talk about this thing from the very basics and tell me how it works. Okay. First of all, tell me what is an industrial park?
I'll start here.
Yes.
What is the main raw material for cooking oils?
Vegetables.
They'll tell you vegetable, and they'll tell you sunflower,
Yeah.
which come from where? The bulk of them we get from Kampala. Uganda. They come from Uganda. Let's say Uganda. Why is the biggest oil manufacturing company based in industrial area? I wish it was somewhere in Western, just near the border where the raw materials are coming from. Many people will argue that the biggest consumers are here. So you just have to deal with, what is more expensive to transport, the finished goods or the raw materials? I cheerfully submit that it would have been better to have a company closer to the border there manufacturing our cooking oil as opposed to having it in Nairobi. Because the bulk of their supplies are coming from that side. There's a lot that we haven't thought about as a country, and there's a lot that we haven't done as a country. And I can say one of the first things we haven't done is we haven't voted for leaders with common sense, basic common sense. That we haven't done.
You have talked about a lot about common sense.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you look at, I don't know where you place Uhuru as a leader in this country. I'm not sure. Probably I'll answer you. Probably will not answer you. But Raila Odinga, they are people that went out and studied outside and looked at how the world works outside there.
Then they came back having learned how to exploit us.
Did they really learn that?
Let
outside?
me tell you.
Yeah.
The other day, the president goes and finds a group of women at KICC.
A group of
that
women.
special speech he gave about gas itakuwa shilingi 300. Then later people said ni mutungi, then people said all sorts of things. Remember, he promised a cheap gas. The people he was promising were not Nairobi women. They were women from the rural areas. Every home outside of Nairobi, even where you come from, has a cow. True or false?
Yes.
Why are we not talking about biogas? If 70% of Kenyans don't live in Nairobi, they don't live in the cities, 70%, they live in the rural areas. Why are we not having a conversation about biogas? It's very cheap. And number two, why are we not having a conversation about containerizing biogas? Why are we not having that conversation? It's because we know the people who deal in gas. If we were using common sense as a country, today, what we would be promoting is that every home, and that would save our trees. We keep saying you're cutting down trees, you'll continue cutting them down because many schools are still using timber to cook. I mean wood. If every school had 10 cows to be milked, boarding schools.
Why are they not using electricity or biogas?
This electricity of ours, do you know how much it costs to even power this studio of yours? Maybe they don't give you the electricity bill because you probably spend more on electricity than you spend on paying your staff. If we were to say a school like Lenana with all its land must have 10, 15 cows, just milk the milk you can give to the boys, but that biogas be used to cook in Lenana school and in all our national schools. Any school that has got enough piece of land should be able to use biogas. It's safe, it's cheap, it's renewable energy. The cows will continue doing their thing as long as you're feeding them. Really, as a nation living on the equator and in a home where every other home has got a cow or some pigs, we should have biogas as much as possible in homes. So these are the conversations I'm saying at the national level. And that's why I'm saying I want to vie for Member of Parliament. Because one of the things I would go to Parliament is to say, let us have a conversation about energy. Because the Ministry of Energy is just talking petroleum, which is imported. They are speaking of electricity, which is now getting people to come and bring us hydro technology, which is very, very complicated. Na mastima zinakimbia huko na mawaya. It's now been proven that you can light using biogas. Nobody wants to have those conversations. A country living on the equator, India is moving and bringing down their use of the normal electricity and increasing their use of solar. There's a leading petrol station in this country that is priding itself to have more than half of its petrol stations purely run on solar. So when you tell me we have people in government, I tell you we have idiots occupying spaces of government. Because, let me tell you, there's a million things I can tell you. Kenya lacks leadership. I see, for example, an egg is expensive. I ask why. The farmer tells me chicken feed is expensive. Very true. So I say I'll not stop at that. The pig meal is also very expensive. You ask why, they tell you the feeds are expensive. So I asked myself, what makes these meals very expensive?
The cow, the pig meal and the chicken meal.
Even for the cows.
Even for the fertilizer.
The answer lies in protein. So when you look at what is the richest source of protein for the meals, for the guys who manufacture pig meals, most you laugh. It is soya. Okay? It is soya.
Really?
So I do the maths. I take time to research. I don't just go on media. Kenya has an annual demand of 150,000 metric tons of soya. Kenya produces 10,000 metric tons of soya.
What percentage is that?
Kenya imports 140,000 metric tons of soya. A kg of soya is about 100 shillings. So we spend about, I think, is it 14 billion or 140 billion? Do the maths, importing soya. If the Ministry of Agriculture had people who had common sense all these years, would have been asking ourselves, soya is a bean, is a bean, is a bean, is a bean, is a bean. It grows in 3 months. Just come up with an aggressive campaign of telling people, kwa hiyo shamba yako, ukipanda maharagwe, spare half an acre, just plant some beans, soya beans. Kenya would stop losing so much money, and the cost of chicken feed and cow feed and pig feed would go down significantly. But we have morons occupying positions of leadership, and they don't know that, or they have refused to know. Now, wanaangalia wanaona imports, wanaona other things that Kenya really imports, it's soya. Why is Kenya importing soya? So I tell you, I sometimes sit.
What really? You're the man with the knowledge. What's the government currently doing right now to steer Kenya economically in the right direction that you know about?
I'll tell you, they're doing foolish things.
What are they doing?
The first foolish thing is they need money, for example, for school capitation, and they need money to build roads and to pay our debts. The first thing they think about is Jagero's payslip. They're saying they want to steer the nation forward, and the reason they are unable to steer the nation forward is because we are not paying taxes. We are refusing to pay tax. So they ask us, how are we going to build houses for you if you don't pay tax? And when I dare submit to you that we have leaders in positions of leadership who do not have common sense, people think I'm being insulting. But let me ask you, when last did we have a conversation about the question, for example, Kenya made 10 shillings from tourism last year. How can Kenya make 15 shillings or 18 shillings or 20 shillings from tourism? Nobody wants to have that conversation. Everybody wants to say, I took 2,000 from Jagero's payslip, I want to take 2,800 from his payslip. Stupid thinking. Nobody wants to have a conversation about Kenya made 15 shillings from coffee and tea. How does Kenya start making 32 shillings from selling its coffee and its tea? The finance bill of 2025 should not be a finance bill about getting money from taxation. It should be a finance bill of saying, can we run Kenya as a business? Can we run Kenya as a going concern? So the finance bill of 2025 should be addressing itself to, wait a minute. Kenya benefited from exporting whatever that we exported, but we got 24 shillings.
Why do I have a sneaky feeling that they know that we got 20 shillings from coffee, and they know that we should be getting 30 from coffee, and they are not doing it. They're not following that trail.
Because they want your pay slip. It's sure bet. It's very easy. They don't want things that make them tired. They want to go into an office, hang a coat, and start going on motor vehicle tops and making noise. You cannot build this nation on the rooftops of Land Cruisers. You can't. This nation is going to be built by people who will sit in the office and start doing very interesting maths and saying, wait a minute. For every 10 shillings a Kenyan earns, they spend 5 bob in China.
But Ruto is a businessman.
My friend.
But Ruto is a businessman.
And I had saying my friend because the people who started using the name my friend are not my friends. Now.
But Ruto is a businessman. Why is he not thinking along those lines?
Tell me one business Ruto has done.
They say he's a good businessman. Chickens.
I think he does business.
He's a entrepreneur.
but one business is done very well. We must applaud him for is the business for selling airports.
Selling airports?
Yeah.
It tried and failed, bro.
And his elder brother came and said, Adani ni safi kama pamba. Anyway.
Adani ni safi kama pamba. He said, we are going to his elder brother, by the way. That you are talking about Raila Odinga.
Maybe. You know, I have always been very clear. I speak the truth.
Okay.
And Baba's supporters have to forgive me. Because when he's right and I say he's right, they really cheer me. When he's wrong and they can see he's wrong and I tell them he's wrong, wananichukia. Wananiambia sijui nimetumwa na Gachagua, sijui nimetumwa na nani. But anyway, so what I was coming to is that this country will need a paradigm shift in terms of how we think. And we cannot go into the future with the thinking of the past. Finance Bill 2025 can be different because those are the questions we should be asking. That a Kenyan earns 10 shillings here. You know the reason we are broke? Unasikia Kenyans wakisema wako broke. Wakizunguka wanasema wako broke. Do you know why Kenyans are broke? Kenyans are broke because if, for example, I earn 1,000 shillings today and I spend 500 shillings out of my 1,000 shillings in China, not in Kenya, then there is no circulation of money. Because we work so hard, then my shirt has to come from China. My watch has to come from China. My toothbrush, 60 years after toothpick has to come from China. If we want to grow this economy, we must grow it by retaining money inside the economy. So that ile pesa ningetoa ikuliwe na mchinese mwenye sijui juu ya toothpick. Inafaa ikuliwe na kijana mdogo kutoka Kondele mwenye anatengeneza toothpicks. And then somebody else wants to spend money buying shoelaces. Shoelace. Hizo sasa maybe zinafaa kukuwe na watu wanatengeneza shoelace Ukambani.
Nimenunua hizo vitu kwa AliExpress.
Yes. Hiyo kitu inatoka inaenda wapi? Ukambani. So there would be money in the economy. But in addition to being exploited, all the other money that we make, we spend it outside of this country. Including the fact that in my house, I am cooking with a fuel that is coming from another country that is very many kilometers away.
Ile yetu ya Turkana ilienda wapi?
Just imagine cooking gas. That for you to cook, there is an Arab benefiting from you. Ukiasha tu hivi Mwarabu anafurahia akiwa kwao. Kiwijinka inaelekea kuisha. I don't know whether we feel it, but I have just started having some pigs in my house, in my compound, because I want to start using their manure now as biogas.
Inafanya kweli?
Biogas is excellent. There's a feature,
Can I ask you what biogas is exactly? Are you in a position to explain what biogas is?
No, all I'll tell you
is
that if you go to Kibra here, there's one that is doing very well. And it was featured on one of our leading stations. Human waste.
Human waste?
Being turned into biogas, and they're using it to cook very well.
Human waste?
Yes, do that research. It called to Upper Kibira. In fact, even check on your phone on Google. Yeah. So check it out. You'll be happy. So even what we are wasting in our sewage systems, tunasema inanuka huku, if we were using common sense, we'll probably even be using it to cook. Yes. So it's a country.
What do you think of a Ruto-led government for the next for the next 3 plus 5 years, 8 years? Doom.
First and foremost, Kenyans are very resilient. I don't think there's any set of human beings who would manage to have Ruto as their president for 2 years. We've really tried. Oh, we are good. We are good. You can imagine a country that has no minerals, a country that doesn't have all those things like, Congo would. Kenya inaibiwa kila siku pesa every day, so much money. Na haishi. We're just lucky. And it's the sheer hard work of Kenyans. You wake up at 4 a.m. Malori za mboga na waru zimeelekea Marikiti. Those people work so hard. So much money is collected.
Give it to Kenyans.
And then it is all stolen.
We
pray to God that he takes away this administration from us.
We are going to talk about the next 2 guys. Mm-hmm. Today I wanted to talk with you about 3 principal people. Number 1 is Ruto, and we have talked about Ruto. Mm-hmm. Number 2 and number 3, I want us to talk about Raila, and I want us to talk about is it, would you consider Gachagua your father or your brother? In age-wise?
He's my uncle. He's younger than my father.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying this podcast. Today, this podcast is brought by a sponsor of DWJ. Our sponsor is Titan Impex. It is a cargo company, a shipping company that is basically doing shipping from America to Kenya. So, I'm a lover of the Premier League, and I wanted somebody to bring for me a 75-inch QLED TV, and Titan Impact said, Jagero, we can do that for you, and we can collaborate with you on DWJ. So I went to the website and registered my name, and I was given an address. And so if you just go to titanimpexshipping.com, you get to know who they are and where you can get them. You can register there. They are very honest people. They're very open, and they are always cost effective. And their customer focused teamwork is top notch. If you have something in the United States that you want brought to Kenya, Titan Impact is a great company. When I told them to bring me a TV, I was like, of course you brought me a few other things, but can you bring a 75 TV? And they told me, Jagero, we can partner with this and I can bring you a TV. And so after 1 week of buying that TV, the TV was in their warehouse. And we went there with my crew. We looked at their office. Their office is amazing. It is spacious. It is secure. It's beautiful. And I saw my 75-inch QLED for the first time. I was so happy. Very, very happy. The good thing about them is that they just don't bring them to Kenya. Once they brought it to Kenya, they have got nice, beautiful vans, spacious vans where they will securely put your product and they will take it to wherever you want. So if you have anything that you want to bring from the United States, if you've been living there and you've got lots of stuff that you want to bring, you can please talk to Titan Impex, and they can do that for you. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. I want to talk with you about Raila Odinga, and I want to talk with you about Gachagua.
Yeah.
The first thing that I want to talk to you with Raila Odinga is that do you consider Raila Odinga as somebody that has been is he an honest man?
You know why Tito used to say, honestly speaking. And then you'd hear one of his children has been accused of having 100 million in the account. Yeah. Honestly speaking. So honesty is an abused word in this country.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to speak about Raila Amolo Odinga because it's a cup of bittersweet.
Of bittersweet.
Yeah, he's done very many good things. And he's done some horrible things.
Tell me about the two sides of the coin.
The good things is that I've always said it's written in history. His contributions, his 8 years in jail, his contributions to the 2010 Constitution, his fight in the 90s for multi-party democracy, 202 akatusaidia kuangusha Moi, he has done it. Right now, he is with William Ruto. And he's eyeing the AU seat, the chairmanship, and I don't know why. Because the AU seat is the most useless organization that has ever been created in the whole world.
AU?
Yes.
Tell me more about
My friend,
how
there's
useless
war
it
in
is.
Congo right now. Tell me one thing that AU has done. There's war right now in Congo. Women, children are displaced. Tell me one intervention. One. They have spent, wametuma spaghetti moja. One. I've been trying to see. Wametuma indomie. Tell me one thing AU has done. Then I'll tell you AU is useful. You're struggling. You're struggling.
Let's go to AU then, because I didn't want to go to AU first. I wanted to
And
have
that's
some
why I'm
housekeeping.
asking Raila Amolo Odinga.
Yeah.
Do you want to become chairman of an outfit that once there's a war in a country within Africa, the only thing you can do is to allow our president to go and make words that make things worse?
Niliona Kagame akipiga kifua. Uliona?
Kagame, my good friend, you know, people have liked a lot about what you've done. And you've worked so hard to build Rwanda. But you can destroy it within a very short time if you don't know. I have not seen winners in war. Because even those countries that came and said, oh, we won the Iraqi war. You ask them how many soldiers they lost, and boots, and guns, and livelihoods, and limbs.
Why is Raila there? Has Raila been sent to go and waste time there and forget about the politics of this country? Or because Raila has literally failed. The only thing he won was Kibera for several times, right? Kibera. But he has gone for the top seat in this country and he's failed every other day. Every time he has failed. And do you think that Raila is going to the AU so that he can retire, saying that he was on top of things at some point in his life?
Raila hasn't failed to become president.
What has happened?
You don't make yourself president. Voters do. And I told you these are the same voters who voted for Sakaja and left Igave. These are the same voters who voted for William Ruto, and now they are crying. So sometimes it is more about the voter than it is about the person.
Yeah, but the voters failed him, therefore he failed. That's what I'm saying.
He didn't fail. Let me tell you. You know, there's a story of an election that happened in the forest.
Yeah.
And then a lion offered himself to be elected as the president of the animals. And then a monkey offered itself to be voted as president of the animals. And very many monkeys came out to vote. And maybe 2 or 3 lions came out to vote. And of course the monkey won. And so he was sitting on the tree on the tree there and showing his red behind and saying, I won. I won. The lion can't, I even bet the lion in an election. You just have a monkey with a red behind that was elected and defeated a lion. But nobody wants to talk about that, the fact that there were more monkey voters than lions, and they choose to vote for one of their own. So the fact that the monkey is up there saying, I won, and showing you something red, you know their back is always red, doesn't mean the lion was any less of a leader or any less of a lion.
Why did Raila join Ruto in government?
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And I don't hold brief for him.
Okay.
Kenyans voted for Ruto and said they want him to be president. They refused to vote for Raila. Then Raila wakes up one morning and he's called by Ruto. And he comes to join him. Then people have a problem with him working with the president that they voted for. They're telling him, you're betraying us. Then he's asking them, wait a minute, how am I this guy, you guys voted for him. You said he's good. Now you're trying to fight him. And when I work with him, you say I'm betraying you. As who? What do you want Raila to do without mandate? He's this guy you expect so much from him and then you give him no mandate. What will he do without any mandate? Raila can't control the forces. He can't control the police. He can't. What do you want him to do? He doesn't have ministers. So people are telling him, go and fight Ruto for us. Why? When he was born to eat tear gas for every other Kenyan and never to be president. No. Raila at his age should do what he wants. In fact, if these Kenyans, they only need him when they want a fight to be put up. And when he puts up a fight for them, they elect the wrong guy. Then they tell him, come and help us remove Ruto. You guys voted for Ruto, eat your Ruto. Kaeni na yeye, fanyeni kazi na yeye. Akitaka kuwapeleka jehanamu ni shida yenu, nyinyi ndio mlimweka hapo. Stop blaming Raila for having Ruto as president. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Okay.
Raila cannot be blamed for Ruto being president. He was working so hard to remove him. You guys voted for him. Now you are blaming him because Ruto is a bad president. Can you start fighting your own Ruto? That's the guy you voted for, not Raila. How can you fight Raila for the mistakes of Ruto? I wish they were saying Raila amekuja tukampatia taxes zetu akaiba. How much money have we given Raila? Does Raila have his own finance bill? Does he have a ministry of finance? Does he have a central bank? Pesa yenyu amechukua ngapi? Mnasema Raila amekula pesa. Amekula gani? Na kama amekula, nani alimpea? Ni Ruto. Nani aliweka Ruto hapo ndiye apea Ruto Raila pesa? Si ni nyinyi. So I refuse to fight Raila Odinga.
Yes.
Because
that's a fair argument. I think that's really fair.
I can't fight him.
Yes.
Yeah. And by then there's a time he kept quiet. Sitaongea. Muka enda street Gen Z, sitaongea. Raila kimenyamaza, kimepewa pesa. He talks. Why is he talking? Let us fight this fight. It's our fight. Okay. He goes abroad. Kwa nini ameenda ngambo? He should have been here. He comes back. Ona anarudi saa zile kumetuli. What do you want him to do? Do you know if Raila was to keep quiet right now?
Yeah.
For 6 months. Just live and just say, I'm at home. I want to be given fruit salad.
Walisema tunapereka ye bondo.
Go for a walk. Come back, eat fruit salad. And refuse to read the newspapers. Do nothing. In fact, he can watch Scooby-Doo. They will still complain. That's where Raila is.
Let's talk about your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Gachagua was impeached.
Yes.
He left,
yes.
cried in the hospital and left. And Sai Gachagua is trying to come back and start talking.
Yes.
And probably become the kingpin of the Mount.
Yes.
Do you think that Gachagua is now the leader of Mount Kenya?
Hey, my friend, let me tell you something. If there's a guy who ever fought Gachagua in this country, and you all know Kenyans, it's me. Nililima huyo mtu. Wakiwa na Ruto, I used to say all sorts of... In fact, I think I used to lima Gachagua more than I used to lima Ruto. But right now, Gachagua is fighting the Ruto that I have been fighting. So why would I come and fight a guy who is fighting the guy I'm fighting? Why? Now we've been energized. And by the way, I was there throwing my 2 bullets. Tua. And people say, nika injection. They say, Fanya Mambo, you're injecting. Keep injecting. But no, injections are not. Now, Gachagua has come with something we call ICBM, Intercontinental Ballistic Missiles. Boom! Analysis. Boom! The president goes and works for 6 days in Kakamega, launching bonuses, something I have never seen.
What bonuses?
He was launching bonuses for a sugarcane bonus. Farmers were being given sugarcane bonus.
Oh, where I saw him saying, check your KCB account.
Yes. And we are yet to see a person who knows a person who knows a person who has received money, but all the same. So Gachagua comes and destroys that whole Western tour in 3 minutes. He just tells them how the president used to come to Mount Kenya, how he used to say Mwadhani Agosho, and then he tells them what is happening in Western. And that goes viral in Western, and that trip is destroyed. The reason I'm unable to fight Gachagua today, and I won't, and I have stopped. And by the way, for information, by his invitation, I was in Wamunyoro yesterday.
Yes.
Nyeri. Yesterday, Friday. And I drove all the way. I was there in the morning. Something funny, by the way, he received us very well. We were quite a number. But there's a place, we were given food, tea. He doesn't talk to you when you're hungry. And we went and we had a very nice conversation. And I would say, and because it's just there, you're facing, by the way, he lives very close to the slopes of the mountain.
Oh,
you
really?
can see Mount Kenya. Yes, you can see Mount Kenya from his house. It's right there.
I remember he used to walk up.
Yes, it's very beautiful. It's right there, and the forest is right there. And I can tell you for free that Gachagua is on the right track politically. Because that village, and by then Nindani, Wamunyoro Nindani, but the number of cars that are going there, you'd think, you remember there was a time there was a guy who was giving guys water in Tanzania. What was his name?
I don't remember that.
Yes, this guy who had magical water. Babu, he was giving people that magical healing water.
Yes.
Now Gachagua's residence has become like that. People are trooping there in numbers. And you know, aliambua, tutakupeleka nyumbani. The same way you tell President Ruto to go to Sugoi. This guy went to Wamunyoro. And people are literally going to his small village in Wamunyoro, to his humble home. He has a humble abode. And he's hosting them, and he's coordinating his campaign from there. He doesn't even need a campaign headquarters. I think the fact that Gachagua is fighting William Ruto, and the fact that I told you he's coming with ballistic missiles where some of us just had injections, is a good thing. Because
is he the leader of Mount Kenya?
Let me tell you who's the leader of Mount Kenya.
Okay.
Mount Kenya does not have a leader. People follow Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya, people do not follow a leader. You know the way Raila will take you to Corporation, take you to Maja, take you to Government of National Unity, take you, and then the people of the Luo Nyanza will follow him. Mount Kenya, they go where they want, and the leader has to follow them. That's how Mount Kenya is. And if you want to be elected in Mount Kenya, you go where the people are. That's why in Embu, people were cheering for Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta because they believed he was anti-Ruto. He shook Ruto's hands. All his credit went down. 0. Now he's trying to come back again. Gachagua now came to where the people were. People told him, "Atutaki Ruto." He said, "Hata mimi simutaki." Now they have embraced him, all of them. He's their darling, and he's the biggest darling they have for now.
Great.
Should Gachagua stay there, then he will forever be their friend. Should he try to take them back to Ruto, they will get the next big person, and who is not with Ruto, and that will become the leader of the mountain. So for now, he's holding the mountain very well. He's running, and the mountain is following him. And any person in Mount Kenya who wants to be elected must go to where the mountain is. The mountain will not come to you. It doesn't.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Fanya Mambo. It was. I promise me you'll come back.
Yes, I will.
Because
come
we've got
back.
a lot of things to discuss with you. Hii hatujamaliza, tujaenda huko kwa yule jamaa mwenye alislapiwa State House, tujaenda kwa yule jamaa wa Kiambu, tujaenda kwa yule jamaa mwenye hana nywele anaitwa nani Kabogo.
They donated hair to him, the Gen Zs.
Thank you very much, people of the internet. That was Fanya Mambo talking with me about Kenyan politics. Until another episode, bye for now.